right, this number has an I in the denominator, and math people just do not like that. So we need to get rid of the imaginary number in the denominator. Okay, we would do the same thing if we had a square root here. If you see a square root here, we're going to do the same thing. And the way you get rid of this is we're going to multiply top and bottom by what's called the conjugate. Okay, just like in English, when you conjugate verbs, like I sit and I sat, they're very similar, but the middle's different. We're going to do the conjugate of this, 7 plus I. And we're going to multiply times 7 minus I. And you have to multiply the top and the bottom by the same thing. Okay, anything over itself is the same as the number 1. Anything times 1 is equivalent, right? It's the same. It just looks different. So we're not changing the value here. Now, the numerator is pretty straightforward. We have 3 times 7, and that is 21. And then we have 3 times negative I, and that is minus 3I. But the denominator we are going to have to FOIL. Okay, this is multiplying two complex numbers, and we're going to FOIL. First two, 7 times 7 is 49. Outer two, 7 times a negative I, and that is minus 7I. Inner 2, positive I times 7, and that is a positive 7I. And then the last two, FOIL, last two. I times negative I is negative I squared. Now, you're going to find out right now why we did that. Why did we do that? Look at the middle two terms. Negative 7I plus 7I. Well, if you combine those together, you get 0, 0I. So my numerator is 21 minus 3I. And my denominator is 49 minus I squared. Okay, now remember, by definition, I squared is what we want. I squared is negative 1. If you can square that imaginary, it goes from the imaginary back to the real world, to the real numbers. So I squared is negative 1. Now it's very important to understand that this is a minus I squared, so it's minus negative 1. Minus a negative is a plus. So we have 21 minus 3I over 49 plus 1, and 49 plus 1, that is 50. All right, now, if you wanted to, you could take this a step farther, and you could turn this into a complex number, and we would do the 21 over 50 minus 3 over 50I. All right, most math people are going to want it in this form, and the form is A plus B I. But you're probably good just leaving it just like this.